Getting a new camera is an exciting and fun experience, but all cameras are shipped with factory settings that are trying to please everyone. That is why I immediately changed these 5 settings on every camera I am about to use. They cover the majority of my shooting scenarios, and once the setup is done, I am ready to take photographs without needing to dive deep in the camera menu while in the middle of a social or street photography event. The first thing I do is I turn the EVF into black and white. By simplifying the visual information sent to my brain, I make it easier to focus on the key elements of a scene, such as light and composition. A lot of my photography is of people, and this one simple change helps tremendously, because colors are distracting. What you want when you are taking pictures of people is to focus on their emotions and not be distracted by the color of their jumper or a car in the background. We want to capture emotions, and to see people's emotions, you need to see in black and white. Photograph that is in color is often mostly about the color, and it's also the first thing we noticed. It's the first thing our brain registers. When we remove this information, this distraction, we will immediately see emotion, movement, and atmosphere of the scene in front of us. And if your camera doesn't have a viewfinder, do the same for the LCD. Some cameras will also preview images you took only in black and white, but that is okay because the RAW files contain color information regardless, and the files will look as usual when loaded into your photo editing software. Another crucial information I like to add to my camera EVF and LCD is histogram. This is essential because electronic viewfinders adjust their brightness based on available light, which means they cannot be relied on for accurate exposure. And so here comes the histogram. It provides a visual representation of the tonal values in an image, which allows me to quickly assess the exposure and determine how to optimize the dynamic range. If I want to protect highlights at all costs, or maybe I care more about correctly exposing my subject's face. By using the histogram, I can also maintain consistency in my images, especially when shooting in challenging lighting conditions. Histogram is the only tool that allows you to preview the final image before the photo is even taken, and for that it is invaluable, and I use it all the time. I like to take pictures of everything, but I mostly use my cameras to photograph people, be it strangers on the street or my family at home, and I need my camera to be ready to shoot the moment I pick it up. But people move, they don't stay still for long, especially children, so to counter this, I set my camera to have a minimum shutter speed of 1/250th of a second. Whatever happens, the camera shutter speed will not go under this limit. It may sound excessive, but it has worked great for me. It not only helps to freeze motion, which can result in clearer, more detailed images, but it also helps to reduce camera shake and produce sharper images, especially when shooting handheld. But high shutter speed comes with the need for high ISO, and that is okay because flexible ISO range is why we shoot digital. There are other advantages of digital photography like 0 to none post-processing cost, but the main advantage of a digital sensor over film is the ability to go from ISO 100 to 50,000 in an instant. And I'm not saying that you should start using your camera at its maximum ISO, but if you own a modern digital camera that is 5 years old and younger, you can afford to set it to automatic ISO with an upper limit of 12,500 or 6,400 if you are not that brave. I'm using my crop sensor Leica CL with an upper ISO limit of 12,500, and nobody has ever complained about noise in my photographs. Not that it's not there, it just isn't such a big problem for most people who are not photography geeks. And when it's really bad, I just convert the image into black and white and marvel at the beautiful film-like grain. But if you really want to get rid of noise in your photographs, you can use, for example, Luminar Neo and its AI denoise tool, which is pretty great. I put a discount link for you in the description. With auto ISO, higher shutter speed limit and histogram, you can stay in aperture priority mode all the time and change the lens aperture to creatively play with depth of field. The camera will take care of everything else. But because you are smarter than the camera processor and can see histogram in your EVF all the time, you can adjust the automatic exposure using the exposure compensation dial. And now you are ready to go and take photographs in most scenarios, but if you want to have even more control over the images, you need to look into manually setting white balance. Cameras these days are pretty smart in setting white balance automatically, and you will be fine most of the time by leaving it in automatic mode. But by manually setting white balance, you can ensure that colors in your photos are accurate and match what you see with your own eyes. This can be especially important in situations where the light is unusual, like indoors with an artificial light or outdoors on a cloudy day. Also, if you take photos in the same lighting conditions repeatedly, manually setting white balance will give you more consistent results from shot to shot. And if you shoot into RAW, as you always should, white balance can be adjusted in any photo editor. It's a lot easier to do for a set of photographs when you know from what white balance setting you are starting. This is how I have set up my Leica CL, and I have used it this way for street photography, family photography, and also a wedding reception. It always delivered not only because of these settings which will work on any digital camera, but also because it's really nice to use. So check out my review of this affordable Leica camera next. They no longer make them and used prices are rising.